Hello, my friends. This is Rabbi Aharon Dobinsky calling you today from the holy city of Jerusalem in the wonderful state of Israel. Now it's time for some critical thinking. A lot of times we just go along with the program because it's all we've got. We know no better. We can't do anything to change it. But you see, critical thinking is what can prevent all sorts of things from happening that are horrible. For example, during World War II, when the Jews were put onto the trains, they were told they were just going to be disinfected, and then they were going to be protected. Now, we all know at this point that was not true. And a little critical thinking, when the fact that they were on these trains, packed shoulder to shoulder as tight as they could go, no room to sit or lay down, should have given them an idea that that was not the ultimate goal. Critical thinking would have helped in that place. However, I'm not sure that any of us would have done anything any different because the times were different and the times were tough. Well, we're right now in different and tough times, and we have to do critical thinking again because we're getting lots of stories about different things. Now, let me give you an example. For those of you who have studied the Gemara, you already know this, but for those of you who have not, it might surprise you to learn that the Gemara came from the Mishnah, the 6 orders of the Mishnah, which came from literally hundreds of other books. All came together into one thing codified by Yehuda Nasi, Judah the Prince, as the Mishnah. Now, that is the basic condensation. That is the basic compendium of all oral Torah. Now, the Gemara is the commentaries by the Ravs on the Mishnah, which makes it much bigger, much more comprehensive. Now, you might be surprised to know that they didn't always agree. No, sometimes Rabbi X went one way and Rabbi Y said something else. He was more difficult, he was more lenient, or vice versa. And then it always says, and this is important, Rabbi X said, in the name of Rabbi Y, in the name of Rabbi Z, in the name of Rabbi X. In other words, they always brought with them some type of documentation. Nobody ever, for the most part, said anything just on his own. He always tried to take something from somebody who came before him, somebody who was well respected, somebody that people knew about. Okay? And when they did that, still, it got to the point where sometimes Rabbi X says this and Rabbi Y says that. They couldn't agree. They disagreed on this. And these are wise men. These are not idiots. These are people who are well learned in Torah. These are people who knew everything about Torah. And they were talking, and in their discussions, they couldn't agree. And sometimes the Gemara will actually say to you, they could not agree on this. The Gemara cannot give you a ruling on this. You must pick from one side or the other. Now, if you pick from one side or the other, it's like anything else we've talked about. You may pick your Rav based on what he says and what he does. But when you pick your Rav, pick your Rav. What he says about A, you go with. What he says about B, you go with. What he says about C, you go with. What he says about D, you don't like it. And you don't agree. But you can't go with another Rav on that one because he's the Rav you've chosen. Now, if you decide at the end of the day that he does not agree with the way you believe and not the way you were taught, you certainly can change Ravs. But again, when you change to Rav D, and he comes up with ruling E, F, G, H, and so on, those are your rulings, and they were made for you, and you have to go with them, because you cannot cherry-pick the experts. Well, we're going through something now called the coronavirus. We've already talked about it. Kara, in my opinion, means call. Na means please. Call Hashem, please. We should be talking to him every day. We should be thanking him for everything he gives us. We should be apologizing for all the things we've done to disappoint him, and we've all done, myself included. And we should be asking him to help us to lift this plague that is on the face of the earth and has hurt so many people. My only question to you is, how many people has it really hurt? Do we know? Has it hurt more people than the regular seasonal flu? Has it hurt more people than Ebola? Has it hurt more people than this and that and the other thing? The answer is, we really don't know for sure. Because we're getting stories that are so confusing, we have to pick an expert and say, this is the one I hold with. This is the one who I believe to be right, and this is the one I'm going to believe when he tells me what to do. Now, Sometimes it's a person who's a medical authority. Sometimes it's someone who has access to medical authorities and has come to a conclusion based on what they've told him. Just like the Gemara. And you have to decide, who do you believe? Who do you believe? There are stories across the internet right now that hospitals are being paid $13,000 for every time they say someone died of the coronavirus. And if that person also was on a ventilator, they get paid an extra 30-something thousand. I don't know what the figures are exactly, but it's a disturbing thing to see, because if you're a hospital, and hospitals run on a budget like any other business, and they're always running on donations. Donations to hospitals are a very big thing, and they need the donations to keep going. Well, if that's the case, the question would be, and if they are indeed being paid these things, and we don't know that they are, but it's been on social networking. If they are, who wouldn't put that somebody was a coronavirus, no matter how they died? I mean, to go to the ridiculous, you could be in a traffic accident, be thrown out to the windshield of your car, land on the pavement, a truck runs over you, and you die. And they could put down, died from COVID-19. Who's going to argue with them? There's nobody to argue with them. So it's their word against anybody else's word. So this is something that we need to check into. We need, more than anything else, to make sure that the information we get is vetted. Just like in Gemara. Rabbi X says that from Rabbi Y to Rabbi Z to Rabbi A to Rabbi B to Rabbi C. It's documented. There are others who hold with the same opinion for the same reasons, because they are all learned. And they are the ones he has chosen to line up with on his decisions. Same thing here. We need to be very careful. What do we believe and what don't we believe? There's a lot out there that simply is not true. There's a lot out there in the numbers. How many of this and how many of that? It has been stated in the last couple of days that the virus has peaked in areas like New York and New Jersey. What does that mean? Well, according to them, it means that fewer people are being reported that they have it, that they're getting it, than are recovering from it. Is that true? I would tend to believe it probably is, but we don't know that. We know we've been told, and again, it has to be proven, you have to have it vetted, that over 4,000 people in the Washington state area were put down as COVID-19 deaths rather than what they really were. COVID-19 was the easy scapegoat to put down on that. But that doesn't do anybody any good. It creates a sense of panic. It creates a sense of lack of knowledge. And we need to understand what is the knowledge and to make our decisions. Should we be wearing masks all the time? Well, you know something? Never hurts. Should we be wearing rubber gloves? Again, never hurts. Should we be staying in our homes all the time? If it's not a hardship, yes, it doesn't hurt. If you need to go out, you need to go to the grocery store, you need to go to the drugstore, you need to go someplace that is very important, then you need to go out. That's just the way it is. And you need to go out. And when you come back, chances are, if you were careful, you did not contract anything, you did not touch anything, you throw your gloves away, you clean your mask, and you wash your hands very well with alcohol. This is a very good thing, because Torah teaches us to wash our hands. A long time ago we learned how to do this. And we've been saying this, now people are doing this. So it's great, more people are coming back to Torah, at least in this one aspect. Not to mention the hygiene that comes from this is extremely good. It never hurts to know this, and hopefully will give us a new sense of hygiene as we go forward past this. But the question we need to ask ourselves is, who are we listening to? Is there conspiracy? There are so many conspiracies that have been put out there. Let's look for proof. Let's look for vetting. If somebody says something and you see it and it looks realistic, listen to it very carefully. And if you can, get vetting. Ask the person who gave it to you, has this been vetted? That means, has somebody else come forward with proof that this is true? There are so many things out there right now. There's so many things that have to do with elections, etc., etc. We don't know. We don't know because we don't necessarily have a preponderance of evidence like the men of the Gomorrah had. And we need to get that. We need to be very careful about it. We need to do that in order to make sure that we are making the right decisions for ourselves and everybody else. On a physical basis, that is important. On a spiritual basis, we know what we have to do. Pray more. Learn more. Be kind to our brothers. There's no sure way to upset a father than to upset his children. And the Father of the universe is no exception to this because we were created in his image. You upset his children, you upset him. So let's be kinder to each other. Let's be more knowledgeable. Let's appreciate our families that were given to us to be with and to raise. Let's appreciate the time we have so we can learn more, so we can pray more. So that when we do pray, we know what we're saying, so we can say what we really mean to say. And let's spend time talking to God, please. Call, please. Now is the time. We have the time for this. It's a gift in disguise. We should take advantage of what we can from it instead of being just angry that we have it. It's been given to us for a reason, and hopefully we have learned what that reason is. Be kinder, be more attentive to your studies, be more attentive to your prayers. Know what you're saying. Be closer to Hashem. It will be good for all of us in the end. So it's something we ought to be doing, and it takes very little effort on our part. Oh, yes, and let's watch our anger as well. Okay? All right, everybody, Shavua Tov. Have a great week ahead. May we be free from our, how can I say this, our home imprisonment as soon as possible so that we are able to do the things Hashem wants us to do without it being forced upon us. Be well, my friends. God bless.